Today on the Topping Show, Trump highlight commercial of the debate goes viral. Mark Hamill says that Biden is still the best president of our lifetime despite the debate. Vivek on the Biden-Trump debate is his most viral post of the year. Boston's children medical gender-affirming commercial goes viral before they delete it. Biden is escorted off stage while Trump walks off. The CEO of United Airlines is performing in drag shows. SpaceX nears a $210 billion valuation. Walgreens stock dropped 25% in a single day. And Volkswagen recalls about a little bit more than 271,000 vehicles. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and service company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have SpaceX nearing a $250 billion valuation as the company continues to grow. Now, this is brought to us thanks to LinkedIn. Specifically, is an article by Karen Reinhardt. They say, quote, SpaceX is making history again. Elon Musk-led company is planning to sell insider shares for $212 per share and a tender offer, which will put its value near $250 billion. This, according to Bloomberg anonymous sources. The figure is a record for the American private company and positions at SpaceX as the world's most second valuable startup behind TikTok parent company ByteDance. They said, meanwhile, this rocket and spacecraft manufacturer, who also been awarded a contract worth up to $843 million to, quote, deorbit the International Space Station in 2030. So that company continues to grow exponentially, which has to be one of Elon's top 10 accomplishments in life. Probably one of the best comeback stories. They were literally on the brink of bankruptcy with the first 2 or 3 rockets just exploding, epic fail. And then finally they got the third one right, and they got the NASA contract, which of course put them into outer space. Unmarkedly intended. Well, after metaphor, perhaps. It'll be interesting to see. Then, of course, I mean, in terms of consumer products, you have Starlink, which is growing exponentially. You have to be invited to it, but they do have the option to buy the new mini Starlink for about $5.99 plus a monthly fee, I think, for a subscription model. But it is pretty impressive. One of the biggest companies on the planet, we should say, in orbit. It'll be interesting to see if they ever go to an IPO so the public can purchase their stock. Granted, not giving financial advice, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Might not be a help, but think that stock would certainly go up. But as I always say, time shall tell. Other interesting business news: you have Walgreens stock crashing about 25% in a single day, which is also known as terrible. Also known as, oh dear God, what are they doing? Yeah, again, not financial advice, just speaking about what I'm seeing out there, so to say. And yeah, they are not doing great. So before we dive into the article, let's just kind of look at the trend of Walgreens. How have they been doing past... Let's start with, what's a 5-year trend for the company? Oh, that's terrible. It's down negative 70.79% in the past 5 years. Currently trading for $12.10 per share. Granted, by the time this video is even rendered, it'll be different because the stock market does what the stock market does. Now, in the past year, it's down 44.6%. Year to date, geez Louise, 54.26%. The past month, down 20%. And if you only listen to the podcast, you're not listening today, or take that, reverse it, you're not seeing it. Well, yeah, there's that big epic drop. Yeah, it's around $15 per share, then crashed down to, I think it created around 11 was the lowest last week. Yeah, a big drop. In current terms of, I'm going to see if they pay dividends. I don't think they do, which kind of adds insult to injury for people who are still holding on to that stock. Their market cap is down to $10.4 billion. And yeah, you really don't see how they're going to turn that around. Just once you get that type of momentum, I mean, that's really, granted, a wise man once said, buy low, so high, but I mean, about maybe a year ago, they got a new CEO to come in, and he was supposed to turn the company around. And historically speaking, it's one of the most successful companies in the United States. I mean, there have been, if you look at some of the best books around business acumen and growth and building a culture and great product for consumer, they're mentioned multiple times. One of my favorite books is called Good to Great. And they're one of the few references where these analysts look at all these most successful companies in the past 100 years. What do they all have in common? Walgreens consistently is there. And yet now, I mean, they're the butt of a lot of jokes, at least financing. Now, this has come to us also thanks to Yahoo Finance, which you're, depending on your age demographic, you might not even know what Yahoo is. They were the OG search engine. And yeah, they told Microsoft they would not sell out. They were offered $44 billion. They said no to Microsoft. They subsequently sold for $4 billion, I believe, to Verizon at the time. And they've been bought and sold a couple times ever since. Now, they say, quote, without an AI story, Walgreens Boots isn't a buy, which is kind of funny because that's their legal entity name. This is brought to us thanks to Julie Hyman. See if there's a cool picture. Oh, there isn't? I guess we can go back to the stock chart so you have something moderately more interesting than just the article while I read a couple of highlights from there. Now, they say that there's one of the reasons behind the drop is because they're slashing their full 2024 profit guidance on top of missing the earnings per share for the third quarter. Not great also. And pull up more. He says, quote, I was just listening to a call in which the CEO, Tim Wentworth, was talking about how their plan is and what strategy is now unfolding for the company. We know that he's new to the job and he's really restructured that Walgreens is looking at, pulling away from Village MD and providing of healthcare services. Now, or so pulling back on just a little of the guidance that we just told you about, give you the number specifically, looking at $2.80, $2.95 on the higher end. That's a drop of $3.20 to $3.35 previously, and that was narrowing last quarter. So continue just to decrease how they think the company is going to be doing. Yeah, 25%. Yeah, I still can't get over that. I mean, I'm surprised someone, again, I'm not sure how many people are trying to short this stock, but it almost seems like a GameStop instance because, again, you both see companies, they seemingly at the time oversaturated the market. They have stores. You couldn't throw a brick out the window without hitting one of these stores. So, I mean, kind of a couple of parallels. The stock is going down. They're closing down some stores. They're saying maybe they're cannibalizing sales because the stores are so close to each other. But, yeah, I'm not sure what's the future going to hold for Walgreens. I mean, yeah, I mean, to me, again, anecdotally, in terms of like when I look at when I'm looking for healthcare services or more specifically, like if I need a pharmaceutical, I mean, one of the biggest elephants in the room, or I should say, what's Arkansas known for? Hogs, Razorbacks? Some funny third metaphor. I mean, one of the biggest things is Walmart. They're darn near everywhere, and I think more often than not, they usually have the pharmaceutical division in the company. So why not just go there for everything? I think that's, I mean, a lot of people are saying how the competition, like Rite Aid, went bankrupt. They're emerging from bankruptcy, also closing a lot of stores. And CVS, same thing, closing a lot of stores. I mean, what's a compelling business reason or what's a really compelling consumer reason to go to these stores anymore? I mean, Walmart has pretty much everything, if not more. Maybe the convenience of the store is smaller and get in and out in a couple of minutes. Maybe that's a convenience factor. And maybe they have more guaranteed on-site doctors and resources. Again, when I walk past the counter, I usually see those resources at Walmart as well. I mean, let me know. And obviously, don't tell me, I'm not curious about what your medical. I'm curious about your consumer experience. Have you shopped at Walmart or for CVS? Where would you rather go? And if you do choose to go something like Walmart, or if you choose something to go like Rite Aid or Walgreens, why do you prefer that consumer experience versus just going to a place like Walmart? Or even I think Target has their own as well. Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have Boston Children's Hospital gender affirming care commercial going viral, then they subsequently delete it. It's almost as if every time the mass public discovers what these hospitals are doing, the hospitals retreat and they delete it in shame. But again, if they thought there was nothing wrong with these procedures, well, we shouldn't really call them procedures. Think more like butchering or evil, morally vacuous things. And the marketing spin, they're calling gender affirming care, they're quite literally neutering children and cutting pieces out of them. Children who cannot consent. But I'll let you be the judge of this horrifying commercial. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on X Twitter, in which she says, quote, here's a video from Boston Children's Hospital owns website before they deleted it. This is the video the left doesn't want you to see. They're blaming me for bomb. Oh, I guess I always wonder what keywords might get the videos blacklisted, but nevertheless, she says they blame me for bomb threats again simply because I shared it. Would be a shame if it went viral again. Let's see here. Maximize the screen for us.
Gender affirming.
I want to say this hospital employee gets an F- for marketing, but I don't know what kind of sweater that is.
Gender affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur.
So this is Francis Grimstad. So close, I almost read it as Grim Reaper. I mean, that's as stupid as the name is like topping. Oh, wait, I partially digress. And she is the attending physician, Division of Gynecology. Again, the Boston Children's Hospital. I'll reset it for us.
Gender affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur. A hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also include the removal of the ovaries, but that's technically a separate procedure called a bilateral oophorectomy. And not every gender-affirming hysterectomy includes that, and people who are getting gender-affirming hysterectomies do not have to have their ovaries removed.
What does it say? Boston Children's Hospital, where the world comes for answers. Yeah. It'd be more funny if it wasn't so heartbreaking and horrifying. And granted, some might say she's just a soulless ginger. I wouldn't go down that road because I respect the ginger community. And some of them are pretty cute. Not her, but, you know, others. And, yeah, went pretty viral. It got 2.5 million views and 30,000 likes, originally reported by Chris Billboard. I wonder how many he got on his channel. He got... Oh, interesting. Looks like we got a little sensitive warning from the ex-Twitter folks. Him, it got 1.2 thousand. Let's see here. Now, scrolling down more and more, some of the top comments comes from Craig Chamberlain saying, quote, anytime the mainstream media or watchdogs are misinformation, say something is hateful information. What they really mean is someone's noticed something bad as happening and exposed it, unquote. Getting 968 likes. Junita Broderick says the happy little head shake as she rejoices is the thought of mutilating kids. It's simply disgusting. It got 2.5 thousand likes. Oh.
Most hysterectomy.
Okay, that's enough for her voice, but that weird tilt. Granted, I'm not known for having intelligent or articulate body language myself. But yeah, it is kind of creepy of her. Yeah. Going down more and more. Wall Street Silver says, why would anyone do this to a child or teenager? It's insane. Getting 984 likes. Which, again, there are, in terms of the actual medical reasons you would do this, well, there are some people who get ovarian cancer, there's tumors. I understand why in those cases, but this is specifically a video advertising their service of quote-unquote gender-affirming care, which, in terms of culture and vernacular, is fascinating, very similar to political bills. It's almost as if everything they label something is actually the antithesis, it's the opposite of it. Now, you also have Paul Zuppa saying, Boston Children's Hospital needs to be shut down and all the adults who promoted this mutilation in children should be arrested and prosecuted. This video is abhorrent, makes me sick. Getting 519 likes. Planet of Memes, they did not respond in meme form, but nevertheless, they did say something. Planet of Memes says, I don't know how these people can sleep right at night, getting 87 likes, which, yeah, it's quite concerning. I don't know what kind of books or media or what kind of material they ingested and they just, or who taught them these things. But yeah, it's horrifying. Yeah, that's the reason I try to follow, you know, Biden, Trump, everyone on the Facebook in terms of groups. Because yeah, same situations, but people have drastically different perspectives, some more horrifying than others. Now, of course, So Expose Them says, sadist Francis Grimstad should lose your medical license. So she actually has her own Twitter page, 583 followers, being by quite a bit. Not to brag, but I do have 283 followers, I think. Granted, I think the past 15 that follow me are just bots because they're all very attractive women with one follower. But nevertheless, are robots people? Well, not yet. But nevertheless, Frances Grimstad describes herself as, quote, trans reproductive health care advocate, researcher, clinician, pediatric gynecologist, queer, lover of puns, and public transit. My views are my own, she, her pronouns. That's how you know she's fake. She's a fan of public transit. No one in the world of sane mind is a fan of public transit. It is the butt of most jokes and business ineptitudes is usually the public sector transportation. Usually dirty, crime-ridden, overpriced, late. And yet that's one of the... Again, all the other stuff is obviously weird and more likely accurate too in some of the instances, but she literally says, lover of public transit. Let me know in the comments. Do you know anyone who actually loves public transit, except maybe a family member who has a union job who gets to sit there and do nothing for 8 hours a day, get paid? But yeah, that's also in her profile. I don't know why. To me, that's the weirdest thing. Now she's a lover of puns, so we have something in common. But she does not have the buns for the puns. Some might argue when you look at her picture. Now in the picture, she has a blue, was it a wife beater? I think it's now known as a undershirt, although it's not on the outer shirt of her, so it's not really under the shirt. Nevertheless, it's a blue shirt that says Black Trans Lives Matter, which, in terms of a nuance or a small segment of the market, that is a very small niche thing to appeal to. Now that did get, she does have short shorts, and that's A+ marketing. You know exactly what the shorts look like. In terms of best ROI, I still have mine from high school track. Still work perfectly, but nevertheless, she's holding a bike helmet. They got 425 likes. Now scrolling down, you also have Sassafras84 says, I'll never understand how people can take such joy in mutilating children and those children realize they can never go back to where they lost. Suicide will happen, or more trans violence. Getting 500 likes. Yeah, there's going to be mass legal litigation in our lifetime when it comes to this topic, and I think there's going to be a huge cultural backlash. A lot of people are, referencing how the medical community used to believe in lobotomizing people. I think you will see, and again, that's where, at the end of the day, culturally, I think we're seeing a shift away from these procedures. And I think, again, at the end of the day, obviously, peaceful protest and talking to people is the most effective way to, win hearts and minds. I think another big component is going to be the legal system when all these lawsuits come to fruition. Because again, the doctors are already having to pay a lot of money for malpractice insurance. I mean, people think doctors are rich. They make more money. They make in many cases, they make a lot of revenue, but again, they do have a lot of overhead cost. So again, the insurance industry, how are they going to react to these? Now, scrolling down more and more, you have Old School Eddie saying Democrats will always get bent out of shape when you use their own words against them, getting 183 likes. Valentina Gomez says jail every quote-unquote health profession that chemically castrates their children, getting 486 likes, thanks to me. Not to brag, but I did a like today. But nevertheless, Abel says, we need to have trials for these healthcare professionals like we did after the Nazis after World War II. The damage they've done to the children is irreparable, getting 107 likes. Which, yeah, it'll be interesting. Nuremberg Trials 2.0, or whatever vernacular they prefer. Yeah, if you are celebrating procedures that were done by Joseph Mengele, probably not on the right side of history. And yeah, those are horrifying books and articles if you ever want to go down that rabbit hole. Going down more and more. Trying to see if there's any contrarian statements. Because again, there are millions of Americans who do applaud this, I was going to say doctor, but debatable, this person for applauding these types of procedures. And I'm horrified to even call them procedures. Yeah. But there are a lot of people who support it. I think it's going to be a big part of politics. I don't know if it'll be the top 10, but I think it'll be the top 20 topics that people talk about when it comes to water cooler things, where they're discussing, where they care about the 2024 election. I think we'll also have laws, and we are seeing some states pass laws in terms of banning these procedures. I think we might have something done on the federal level in our lifetime. I think possible. Let's see here. Joshua Walker simply says, this is repulsive. Prison, seriously, getting 96 likes. Let's see here. And not seeing any contrarian statements thus far. Yeah, let me know. Yeah, because no, really, I'm scrolling down pretty good. We're getting down to the comments that are getting between 0 and 6 likes. All right, let's see. Now, no likes at all. So, yeah, so I'm not seeing it. Was not able to see any contrarian, comments when it comes to the specific topic. And yeah, it will be interesting to see if there's a type of peaceful boycott or protest for Boston Children's Hospital. Again, with the medical industry, a lot of it depends on your insurance provider. Where do they allow you to go, or where are you, quote unquote, in network? So that's why, very similar to airline industries, it's a little bit more difficult to actually protest or boycott them in terms of not choosing them for your services and procedures. One of the few benefits of paying cash for procedures are just being, self-insured, and it's one of those things where you can kind of choose where you want to go. But that doesn't represent a majority of the market in terms of the consumers for when it comes to healthcare procedures. So it will be interesting to see at the end of the day, what does this Do we see this? Let me know. Do you think we've seen the pendulum swinging a little back? I think the average American, because again, I think a lot of Americans don't realize these things are still happening. They think it's right-wing propaganda. When again, these medical facilities are literally advertising it, because for them, again, the horrifying thing is it provides them with a long-term source of revenue, because these procedures are never done. We've heard from people who detransition or attempt to, and it is a medical nightmare. They're getting them hooked on medical procedures, as well as many instances. You also have the chemical, actual, not just procedures, but also you have the chemical pills. It's quite horrifying, to say the least. But that's also why there's a big incentive for these hospitals. It's not just a cultural thing; it's also a fiscal incentive as well. And then you also have, depending on how is this hospital funded, who's giving them the funding, what is their input to this specific topic? Are they someone who really wants to promulgate these types of ideals and procedures? That's another big component to think about. So I'm not surprised that Boston, again, they chose to delete this video, because again, that's usually what happens, even though they claim to be all proud about it. But I think we see more of them deleting. I can't but think the pendulum is swinging back. But let me know in the comments. Perhaps I'm just foolishly optimistic. But let me know what you think. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have the CEO of United Airlines performing in drag shows in public for people to see. Now, interestingly enough, he is not in uniform. So I think that's going to be a big argument if there are any contrarian statements in the comments. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on X Twitter. They say, quote, "This is the CEO of United. I'm not kidding." How they even added the hashtag United Airlines, who has 1.4 million followers. Jeez Louise. So this is probably cringe. It's only about 58 seconds long. See if there's some terrible music to go along with it. Hopefully not, but to be honest, it probably is. Wow. Some people might say my fashion acumen is not top, as you might say, maybe top game or top notch, but I can't but feel like James Bond in comparison to this. Now, this man has leather boots, I don't know what you call those things, the little gloves that go up to your elbows, and then is wearing a dress with a wig, crawling on all fours. Well, I think that's Lady Gugu. I'm kidding. I know it's Lady Gaga, which is allegedly a musician, crawling to that song. This is hurting my eyeballs. It's only about 9 seconds in, but we can get through it together. This person has had practice bouncing around in heels. Now, granted, I've never worn them myself, but from what I hear from the female community is that, yeah, walking around in heels takes practice. It's not very convenient. And this person is trotting around, walking around, whatever vernacular you prefer, and they haven't fallen yet. I mean, I don't know. You get what you pay for. I don't know if you really want it if it's for free, but I partially digress at the critique of the lyrics. Almost done, I promise. Ah, making sexual hand gestures, of course. Why are we not surprised? Oh, it's done. Okay. Let's minimize that. Yeah, went pretty viral. Got 5.1 million views and 42,000 likes. Just quite a few, to say the least. Now, yeah, again, do whatever the hell you want in your own bedroom. Now, granted, this person does not have a logo, and they don't have a uniform from United Airlines. So in terms of separating business life from pleasure, I think that's going to be one of the parts that will be brought up by contrarians who don't accept this behavior or don't applaud it. And yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, if you're on the right and you do something, we see this a lot in corporate America. people get fired for their political beliefs, usually more often than not, they're the ones who are on the right who get fired. If this person was at MAGA rally, I'm sure the shareholders would be yelling vehemently for his resignation. Or if he just showed up to one day with a MAGA hat on. Interestingly enough, I'm gonna pull this up really quick. What's their stock price like? And every once in a while, you get some interesting CEOs. The gold CEO, was it the COO or the CEO of Goldman Sachs? He was a DJ in his spare time, which, I mean, some people gave him critique for, but the company fiscally was doing well enough. No one really cared. Let's see here. United Airlines stock price. What is it looking like these days? It's not terrible. Oh, granted, let me zoom out to the long term. Oh, geez. Okay, well, past 5 years, they're down negative 44.42%. In past year, they're down 13.57%. Okay, year to date, not that bad. The year to date, they are increased by 19.5%. Past 6 months, they're up 15.94%. Now, past month, not so great, down 3.91%. Last week, they're about break even. They went up by about 0.7%. So, I mean, past year, they're still down. Year to date, they've been doing pretty good. But obviously, 5 year, they're down 44%. Past 12 months, 13.57%. So while they're moving in the right direction, again, if I was a shareholder, I'd be more concerned. I'd be equally concerned, but I'd be wondering, why the hell are you not working? Again, you're a CEO. You're supposed to be guiding this company to ever increasing profitability, providing value back to the shareholders, helping employees move up the corporate ladder, working with consumer relations. There's a lot. I mean, again, leading the company. It's one of those things where you see a CEO doing this. I just wonder, what's your time resource allocation like? And granted, I know some CEOs have the mindset, some of them don't work, 105 hours a week. Some of them delegate a lot of things. I know there's different styles for, not everyone's like Elon Musk and working themselves darn near half to death to run all the companies. And I understand that there's different methodologies. But yeah, in this case, everyone knows he's going to work at United because he's a CEO. And I mean, that's the only reason we're talking about this. There's drag shows probably every day in the United States by now. Most people really don't care, especially if kids aren't there. I think even less people give a darn. To me, that's a big point of contention in terms of why they become controversial. Once you have kids around there, and again, these are all overtly sexual themed. I mean, to me, that's where I think it's disgusting as all hell. Just like I would never bring a kid to a strip club. I don't think there's a time and place for things, and there is still such a thing as child-appropriate activities. And now in this case, I can't tell. It doesn't look like there's any children. You don't really see the audience from this angle perspective. And if this is just like a cashier, or I guess, yeah, they have cashiers at United, right? Maybe. Probably not. It's been years since I fly. Me, I usually prefer to drive, having a manual transmission, as all cars should have. But I probably should digress. Let's get to the comments, see what the folks have to say. Well, the first one's, let's see here. Oh, interesting. So this is a video from Liz TikTok also saying that a woman claims she was not allowed to board the flight with her baby because she misgendered a non-binary flight attendant. Which I wouldn't be too surprised these days, especially because, I mean, there are many reasons. Flight attendants have a lot of authority in terms of they can boot you off flights. Or more accurately, I think you call them stewardess, but partially digress. Let's see here. Oh, the CEO also says he takes race and gender into account when hiring, and laments that there's too many white males in the airline industry. Not too surprised these days. That also got 1.7 thousand likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from the Texas one saying, quote, "Let's not worry about customer safety anymore. Let's see who can be the gayest." Getting 869 likes. I mean, that being said, this would probably be a good PR move for San Francisco. Because, again, there are consumers who love these events. There are a lot of consumers that go. There are millions of people go to these events. Again, see, I don't know how many people are impressed by that, but nevertheless. Paul Zupa says, but this was on Halloween, so it's perfectly normal and not something to be worried about when you're flying whatsoever. Heavy sarcasm. Getting 229 likes. Which, yeah. I mean, again, I can think of anything better as a Halloween costume for, a CEO of an airline company. I mean, why wouldn't you choose something that's aviation related? I mean, Howard Hughes that would have been a better outfit. The Wright brothers, that's another brilliant. There are many costumes that are aviation related. Be one of the engineers from Lockheed Martin, with it again, one of the chief architect designers. But I digress. Then memes again, 0 for 2 today. They did not respond in meme form, but they did say this explains a lot. Actually, getting 441 likes. AKA says, yeah, I'm not flying United again. I'm getting 1.3 thousand likes. Well, the joke's on you because guess what? The government kind of forces you to, because they bid for routes. That's why, like years ago, one of the most viral songs, and I was gonna say his voice is infinitely better than mine. So popped up in another YouTube box. There's a song called United Breaks Guitars. You have a musician, and they treat his guitar like crap. They break his really nice guitar. I think it plays a Martin guitar, and he wrote a whole song about how United breaks guitars, and it went viral. A lot of people tried to post it then. United also beat the crap out of a guy on a flight because he refused to get off his seat as a nice doctor, and people tried to protest it. Guess what? They're locked into these routes. These companies, these major airline providers, they bid on them, and the FAA approves them. So that's why it's also hard to break into the industry. So you can try it, but you might only have one or maybe two options depending on where your destination is. That's why it's very hard to boycott. Going down more and more. Let's see here. Sandy says, between them and Boeing, it says, I'm not afraid of flying. I'm afraid of suddenly not flying. And the plane crashes, getting 225 likes. But you know what? Depending on how far you are, kind of nice to have a little bit extra freedom. You don't have to be strip searched. You're allowed to protect yourself with the Second Amendment if you have your own car, because of the castle doctrine in most states. And you know what? It is fun to drive. I'll say it. Especially if you have a stick shift. I mean, that, of course. Yes, I do even drive up to like 13 hours per shift over flying. But I partially digress. Plus, you don't have to get there an hour or 2 hours early, and there's many reasons. Red Wave Press says United values DEI more than an airline, getting 177 likes. Blunder says I'll never fly United Airlines again, getting 780 likes. Going down more and more. Cherry says United needs to fire him, getting 562 likes. Again, it will be interesting to see what the board of directors does. I don't think they'll do anything, believe it or not. United is probably one of the companies that also did a whole thing for Pride Month. Because again, it'll attract some new consumers. San Francisco, Los Angeles. And that is a segment of the market. I think that segment of the market is not, well, actually, statistically speaking, we know that's not the majority of the market, which is why I think you see a lot of companies moving away from Pride Month, at least this fiscal year compared to last fiscal calendar year. But yeah, in terms of shareholders, maybe. But really, I mean, what is the board of directors going to say? Do they even care? Because again, it's one of those interesting situations. Oh, heck. There we go. Little technical difficulties. Although I can never complain too much, because if there was never any technical issues with businesses, then I wouldn't have a job for the most part. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see if the board of directors calls a meeting, if they even care, or if they even signed off on this. Because again, I mean, in terms of he's not wearing a uniform, he's not wearing a logo, but because he's such a prominent figure of the company, he's the CEO. I think some of them maybe they'll make the argument of, hey, probably not prudent to do this activity. But let me know, do you think he should be fired or stepped down, or he should just be told, like, hey, you're a big part of our brand, don't do this activity anymore? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Trump using Biden's debate responses in a new commercial going viral, to say the least. This is first brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter. And he says, quote, Trump just released a brutal 95-second ad of Joe Biden's debate lowlights. Instead of highlights, he said lowlights. I like that. Let me see here. Wow, within hours, got 18.7 million views and 158,000 likes. Oh, I thought I would get 159. Yeah, this is End Wokeness' most viral post of the year. Yeah, in terms of debate, yeah, it's pretty pathetic. And even more boring that there wasn't a live audience. At least they both did suit up. They did something right. Fascinatingly enough, they also, I believe, both had American flag lapel pins. Pretty rare in politics these days. Usually they have other countries' flags down there for weird reasons. But without too much further ado, go ahead and play this.
Folks, how are you? Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if
Yeah, one of the, I was going to say half the comments in my videos are usually talking about my speaking ineptitudes, which there are many. However, one of the few people that make me look like a speaking scholar and overly articulate, to say the least, is Biden. And truth be told, yes, I still stumble over my words, still don't articulate too much some of the time. And some say I need a new mic. If you have suggestions, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, and it is weird. His eyes like wide open. Like Biden's pupils are dilated up the wazoo. But we'll go back to what they, I was about to say what they have to say, what they are trying to say, maybe.
We finally beat Medicare. We're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get away.
They're talking about golf right there, and Trump just immediately starts laughing. Now that would be, again, I don't suggest we should run society by this or choose presidents by this, but it would be fascinating and a good way to maybe humanize the enemy or the political opponents if you were to have them both play a round of golf. That'd be more interesting than what we had with the debate. I mean, that was, hilarious, but not for good reasons.
Get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
Brilliant. It was one of the few times where all Trump had to do was basically shut up and act presidential, which he did. Most of his answers were very articulate. They were short. He actually finished his answers before his time ran out, which is ridiculously rare in politics. Usually, you milk it for all it's worth. You use every second of the clock. And yeah, in this case, a lot of people say, well, the one who loses the election is what's the referendum on? And the biggest subject with this upcoming election, the biggest topics is talking about the border, the inflation, the economy. And guess who's been in charge past 4 years? Democrats. And allegedly Biden. And that's why, again, the focus is on Biden. And then I think Trump could win. Will Biden actually be the nominee? There's a lot of people speculating maybe they'll just throw in Gavin Newsom or someone else. Definitely not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen crazier things in politics. Now, some of the top comments comes from the Texas one, which, not be a little biased, but pretty darn cool name. Although he's just wearing a trucker hat, not a cowboy hat, so a little disappointing. But nevertheless, the Texas one says Trump won 2020, gained 1.2 thousand likes. Paul Suzupa says Joe Biden's only highlight was that he made it through the whole debate. Got 2.9 thousand likes. Now, granted, CNN also cut off Biden a couple times, but it looks like he's rambling on a little bit. And they had a break or two. But yeah, I think a lot of people, silly as it sounds, they were impressed that Biden was actually able to stand the whole time and be, I was about to say coherent. He was able to have air move from his mouth and sometimes sound makes sense. I tried to change my vernacular right there so it makes sense for people who translate for Biden. Which, geez Louise, now that would be a tough job. You have Stormweather saying, quote, Trump could have been a lot meaner. He gave multiple jabs, but mostly just let Joe Biden dig his own grave. Also, he never insulted liberal voters. He made it clear that his intent is to, his insults were for the swamp politicians. Biden insulted insulted U.S. every time he could. He insulted Trump. Big difference. See, I have not much ground to stand on it in terms of speaking ineptitudes. Now, that being said, there are some grammatical errors in some of these posts. Now, that did get 5.4 thousand likes. Culture Crusader says the debate was a total bloodbath. Even CNN is calling him to resign. It's Jover. That's a funny pun on words. Got 3.1 thousand likes. Brick Suit said Joe's done. He's being escorted off stage. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Mariana says Biden also wants to send our kids into meaningless wars. It's about a minute 11 long, which, again, for a lot of my libertarian friends and a lot of my friends who, some of them are very much anti-war, they hated everything Trump tweeted, but they loved his policies because it's the first time in our life where the United States was perpetually at war every minute of the day. which is another hilarious thing. All the news media said, "Oh yeah, if Trump gets elected, it's gonna be World War III. You have to vote for Democrats because they want peace." I mean, under Trump, we had peace in the Middle East. I'm not sure what the Las Vegas odds were for that to happen, but I mean, no one saw that coming. Granted, their voices are so they better than mine. So go ahead and I'll play this clip really quick.
These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO.
Fascinating statistic again. Putin only expanded his land holdings over when Biden was in charge and Obama was in charge. Fascinating. And I believe Bush as well.
Just do
And yet, Russia didn't expand when Trump was in office.
what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done and what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful peace. Because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable.
Did he just say we have wonderful peace? There's a lot of hot conflicts the U.S. is involved in globally. Also, the border is broken and open, and you have not just illegally people are entering, but you also have people who are entering who are murderers and some terrorists. Again, 8 to 13 million is the estimate. I mean, just 1% being horrifically evil people, that's a huge number that are coming. But we'll go back to what Joe's saying.
Of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're needed. We're needed to protect the world because our own safety is at stake. And again, you want to have a war, just let Putin go ahead and take Kyiv, make sure they move on, see what happens.
Yeah, what would happen?
These are wars that will...
To us? Yeah, probably nothing. Yeah, about that. I mean, I think we're at war, but we should be at war where it matters, like the southern border, where you have fentanyl crossing it every day. Killing, what was it, about 100,000 Americans just perishing every year? Manufactured in China, shipped, or the raw ingredients in China, goes over to Mexico, they manufacture the end product, and they illegally ship it across here. And yet, the United States hasn't put much resource allocation into actually defending the southern border. Or the northern. Don't get me started on those Canadians, but another topic for another time. That video clip got 1.5 thousand likes. Going down more and more. Levercat Media TM went pretty viral or got a lot of likes for this particular post. They have a picture of Biden, and they also said before, saying, quote, "It was so hard to watch, you want to feel bad for the guy, but then remember everything he has done, and you automatically smile and laugh again." There's a picture of Biden with a mask, saying the worst part about Biden isn't that he's a lying, demented pedo criminal, it's that his supporters don't know that and don't care, getting 3.5 thousand likes. Let's see. That's not a good moment. Mr. Moment says, Trump saying he can't understand what Biden says. Same here. Again, he had a lot of decorum. He really held back the punches. I think, again, if Trump were to be too aggressive with this debate, I think in that case, a lot of people would be, well, why are you attacking this, helpless grandpa? I mean, I think that actually would have hurt Trump a little. I know a lot of people were a little disappointed because Trump didn't have his typical zingers in there, and it wasn't as entertaining as the old debates where Trump was really going all in. But in terms of having presidential decorum, and I think winning over, again, people in the middle, I think this debate was especially successful for Trump. So this is probably like the softest punch he ever threw.
On the total initiative relative.
Actually, what's worse, my stuttering or Biden's? It might be a close call. I'll reset this clip from the beginning.
On the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
That's true. I mean, that's one of the first things Biden did was reverse all of Trump's border policies, which, like him or hate him, they were working. Scroll down, that got 1.8 thousand likes. Mike Vomit says this guy got 81 million votes. The GIF of South Park laughing getting 249 likes. it was a statistical anomaly. Trump also got a record number of votes as well. So Trump increased the number of votes. Biden just did even more, apparently, in 2020. Scrolling down more and more. Son of a gun, or dyslexia, perhaps. Son of Sean says, I actually feel bad for Biden if it wasn't that he was a corrupt, evil person. To vote for Biden is a vote for World War III. And 326 likes. Let's see here. So yeah, that's gonna be one of Trump's most effective campaign commercials, I think, ever. Because again, he's just kind of showing you what's out there. There's a picture of Joe looking utterly lost, getting 390 likes for that particular post from AJ Wolfie, and it says new meme. And it's Biden just looking all confused as all hell. Well, again, at least he suited up, got a good tie on. Same with Trump. But yeah, it was not good. It was a pretty painful debate. Even my friends who, again, because I try to keep my friends have, well, echo chambers getting a little bit boring, but even my friends who are more left leaning, even they were saying, yeah, that was not good. And I don't know what kind of drugs they had Joe on. A lot of people have theories that, well, maybe they allowed Joe to do bad to make it easier to replace him. A lot of people are saying, well, I mean, he didn't have to sit down for over an hour. And again, for him, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. But yeah, I think that'll be a very effective campaign commercial for Trump. I mean, pretty much nearly everyone on social media is saying that, oh yeah, Trump won the debate in spades. But let me know, do you think that commercial will be effective? Could it possibly backfire? But as always, let me know in the comments because I would be interested to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Mark Hamill saying Biden is still the best president of our lifetime after the debate. I'm not sure, but I did fact check it. I don't think Mark Hamill is blind or deaf. I did do some research for this. Now, people mainly know Mark Hamill because his rudimentary movie Star Trek or Star Wars, but his only good hit of all time was Corvette Summer, obviously. It was about the summer and Corvettes, an American sports car. Many would say it was awesome because it used to have 3 pedals, as all cars should have, but GM and Mary Barr killed that. But let's go to see what Mark Hamill has to say, which, I mean, he's very much a leftist. He will literally spend all day just bragging about Joe Biden. I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe it'll get him some more Hollywood movies. I mean, he's already made his money, so I think it's an ideological thing. And I mean, he already fits in with Hollywood. This solidifies those relationships. Now, Mark Hamill says, quote, one night off doesn't change the fact that Joe Biden is the most successful legislatively president of our lifetime. One off night also doesn't change the fact that the former guy is a convicted felon, serial liar, and adjudicated rapist who is unfit for any office, period. This is one of Mark's most viral posts, getting 4.7 million views and a lot of likes, 89,000 likes. So again, the power of Hollywood and power of culture and the power of, actors and actresses, I suppose, is a lot of people worship them. And I'm sure there are some people who will vote left and right just because the famous person tells it to, which is rudimentary to say the least. Do your research on both politicians and choose the best man for the job. I always tell people, if you can't tell me 3 specific bullet points why you're voting for someone, I'm not sure I don't think you're an informed voter. Now, nevertheless, again, 4.7 million views. And yeah, he's saying, one of the most successful legislative presidents of our lifetime. Again, I wish Mark would tell us what's 3 bullet points or accomplishments of the Biden, or more realistically, the Biden campaign staff. I mean, in terms of my anecdotal experience, just doing some research, I know Biden helped avert a labor strike with the train unions, which that's good because, again, I mean, those mobsters, very hardworking union members, well, if they were to just not work, more work even less than usual, I should clarify that, well, it'd be hard to get goods and services transported throughout the United States. That would not be a good thing. Now, granted, he was able to do that by just bending over and giving them everything they want. Definitely don't agree with that methodology, but at least there wasn't that strike. So it also increased the cost of goods sold for everyone. So, yeah, that's not good. But, yeah, I'd be very interested to hear what's Mark's 3 specific bullet points. I know Mark is also very much happy, wants to defend Ukraine. I'm not sure why, but that's something he cares about too. Again, no bullet points. Again, if he wanted to, a lot of people are going to listen to him emotional rhetoric, but again, he should say, here's the top 3 bullet points of Biden's counters. What are they, Mark? Now, one of the first comments, and again, I do follow people who are far left as well as middle, a couple right, so we do have some diverse comments here, thankfully. One of the first ones comes from Paul Suzupa saying, quote, Joe Biden is the worst, quote-unquote, president in U.S. history. Mark Hamill trying to rewrite off tonight as a one night just shows that Hamill refuses to be intellectually honest He's consumed by TDS, getting 10,000 likes. Now, you do have Art Candy, who, I don't want to say she's mentally vacuous, but her name is Art Candy, spelled Candee, and the emojis in her name are popcorn and then water in a cup with a straw. Now, I'm an adult man, so I don't eat a lot of candy, but I did some research. Popcorn is usually salty, not candy, and water, well, that's water. That's not candy. I mean, soda is basically candy in a can, but no, Art Candy, and again, it's just a silly name. Her name is Candy. It's just almost as ridiculous as a name like Topping. Oh, wait. I partially digress, but in all seriousness. So Art Candy says, quote, nothing Trump said negates how poorly he ran the country for 4 years. Got 2.2 thousand likes. I wonder if she was ratio, though. She got 481 responses to her, so that's one of the most responded comments. And she was not completely ratioed in terms of the likes. Libercat Media TM said that it explained the last 50 years with this idiot. There's a picture of Joe Biden sleeping in public, and it says, if a mechanic took 47 years to work on your car and it's still broken, would you hire him for another 4 years? I got 231 likes. Brandon Camayo says, you must not live in America because literally everything on every measurable metric was better, literally, getting 204 likes. Jason said he's doing pretty good before COVID got hit, getting 259 likes. Mercenary says, have you seen your grocery bill? Getting 210 likes. Tricky Woo says, my pocketbook says otherwise, getting 53 likes. So yeah, not a lot. I'm not sure, maybe it's easier to buy likes, but I mean, not a lot of positive responses. Now you do have Aloha Keith, which, yeah, he has one of the few appropriate uses of those emojis. He has the palm tree emoji. Pretty much a leftist. He describes himself as communist. Well, he says gun reform, which that's just communism and Marxism in disguise. But nevertheless, he did say, quote, this is a perfect recap for Mr. Hamill. And it's all the judges saying 10 out of 10, bravo. Got 34 likes for that. Kim simply says, here, here. Got 50 likes. Seth Dillon, CEO founder of the Babylon Beast, who said he laughing emoji, got 501 likes. Texas One said laughing emoji, 109 likes. A contrarian statement, you have Nikki Neeb, who describes herself as a boy mom, love my pups, blue wave, register vote. She's an ally of a lot of flags here, the trans flag and the pride flag. No, of course, no U.S. flag, of course. No DMs unless I know you. Teach your sons to be respectful. At least she said one intelligence thing. That was in her favor. She had to have one. And she said, truth, Mark, let's focus on the accomplishments. And it's a little juxtaposition graphic of Trump versus Biden. It says, these are your choices for president. And the check marks are, they're both old. Biden, she says, is respected internationally. Trump is not, according to her. She says, Biden will protect Social Security, which, again, they should get rid of it because it's a Ponzi scheme. But both politicians, left and right, will never touch it because it's political suicide because you need the votes for the people who paid into that Ponzi scheme. And Trump has, again, said multiple times he will not change it. They should. It's one of the biggest contributing factors bankrupting our country, but they won't. Now, she says Biden will restore Roe versus Wade, which Biden has promulgated, but again, on a federal level, the Supreme Court already said it's relegated to the states. Cap bank late fees. Biden said he'd do that. It's a private institution. They can do whatever they want. That's why you go to another bank. But again, Biden has said he's going to force the free market to do what he wants. Increase taxes for the rich. Biden says he's going to do that. Trump said no. Protect Medicare, which they claim Biden is going to do, and Trump isn't. Forgive student loan debt. The Supreme Court again said that's illegal, but you do have leftists and Democrats doing that. And it's not forgiving, it's shifting the debt from individuals who took out the loans to taxpayers who didn't and have to pay for it. Then they say expanding voting rights is going to Biden, which I will agree on that because, again, 8 to 13 million people illegally crossing the country, and many of them are getting registered to vote. So I do agree with some of her points, just most of them are mentally vacuous. Now, I didn't agree with her, but 1.2 thousand people did like her infographic. Or, should I say lack of infographic? What's the antithesis of knowledge? Leftism? I don't know. But scrolling down more and more. Sarah Rose says, are you effing high? Getting 4,000 likes. Is that Chewie from the Star Wars, Star Trek? I'm kidding. I know it's Yoda. I've seen it once or twice. Libercat Media says, you're a doofus, and it has Yoda saying, moron Mark Hamill is, getting 3.8 thousand likes. Right Wing Dad says, Luke, that was embarrassing, getting 4.6 thousand likes. Let's see here. See if there's any contrarian statements. Most of them are all middle or right, just roasting Mark Hamill. Let's see. Joseta Carzaldo says, okay, Princess, you better start sucking up to Gavin Newsom right away, getting 297 likes. Yeah. Mark Hamill. It's fascinating to see how many people. Oh, we got. No. All right, we do have a contrarian statement. This one has a picture of Joe Biden holding a lightsaber. It says, Joe B1 is our only hope. That's for sure. Got 149 likes. And that RAI is this creepy thing. Wow. Again, I mean, Mark Hamill has done a lot of marketing for Biden. Like, they've done a lot of photo ops together, a lot of videos together. I'm actually surprised he hasn't given him like an honorary lightsaber or something like that. Because, like, again, Star Wars, people worship it like it's a freaking religion. I wouldn't be surprised if just during that little act got Biden a couple 100,000 more votes. As silly as that might sound, it's not out of the realm of possibility. People love that franchise, and a lot of people love Mark Hamill. I mean, again, he had one good movie, Corvette Summer, but let me know, do you think this will, because he's been, shielding for Biden for years, do you think this will increase Biden's support? Do you think it could help him in the polls? Again, he's being hammered mercilessly in these polls lately. I don't think it's enough to actually make much of a sway, more than, again, maybe a couple 100,000 votes. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Vivek on the Biden versus Trump debate, being Vivek's most viral post of the year. Now, this comes to us thanks to, of course, Vivek's ex-Twitter. He said, what we witnessed tonight wasn't an accident, it was intentional. Brace yourself for a wild 5 months ahead. Now, this was a reference to, again, Vivek about 6 or 8 months ago said out loud what everyone was thinking was that Biden was not really in charge and they're just going to replace him with someone. And Vivek, again, Biden cratered in this debate. Only a couple delusional people think he did well. And yeah, I think they will probably do some crazy stuff before the election is here. Again, got 4.7 million views and 132,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. One of the first top comments comes from Phimology, says 12 years of Vivek, getting 739 likes, which, I mean, will be interesting to see when Trump chooses to announce publicly who's going to be his VP. I mean, it could be any minute now for all we know, or it might be maybe by the time this video is rendered uploaded, it might be, we might already know. But yeah, I think Vivek would be an exceptional choice for that position. American Pop-Up Bear says, quote, the left bashing Biden is not organic, it's by design. Getting 1.6 thousand likes, which, yes, that is a fascinating thing because, again, for years, I mean, when we look at the mainstream media, especially CNN, MSNBC, they're all carrying Joe Biden's spittle bucket, giving him accolades, saying he was the best president since, all the time. And yet, even they, after the debate, were saying Biden needs to be replaced by someone. Even people who have supported Biden for decades, they're saying he's not as articulate. Well, obviously we know that, but they're saying that out loud now. And they are asking, saying maybe someone else would be better suited for the job. So he's losing a lot of that support that he's had for a while. Going down more and more, you have Carolina saying, it's no coincidence that every media is calling for Biden's replacement as candidate. Everything planned in advance, getting 4.4 thousand likes. Mr. Santigold says, I like both candidates, but I think we need someone older. Getting 2,000 likes. Tulsi Gabbard parody account says, all this was planned. I'm still voting for Trump. Who's with me? Getting 2.2 thousand likes. Here's a specific clip I was referencing. Got about 29 seconds long, Vivek calling it out. And, well, truth be told, his voice is infinitely better than mine. So we'll go ahead and I'll play that really quick.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the truth so we can have an honest debate.
Ambassador.
Yep. I got 416 likes in the comment section here. Let's see. See if there's any contrarian statements. I don't think so. You have James Lynette saying, the more I think about it, the more obvious this debate wasn't just rigged for Trump, it was rigged for Biden too. They let him flop. They wanted him to flop. Now they have an excuse to bring in who they want. Getting 698 likes. Let's see. The Juan says, yep, Gavin incoming. It's a picture of Gavin Newsom. Good old Xi Jinping. And I think it's actually Winnie the Pooh. Not joking, obviously, he's not good. Getting 761 likes. Little handshake there. Let's see. Paratrooper Brady says New Scum has less support than Biden, getting 124 likes. I mean, he keeps getting voted. People keep voting for him in California. As crazy as that sounds, as a whole, state loses people and businesses, and taxes keep increasing, and crime keeps increasing, they keep voting for him. So while I don't agree with his philosophies, or most likely that pretty much anything Gavin Newsom has to say, he's a successful California politician. He gets reelected, makes a lot of money. He hasn't really fixed anything for the people there, but again, they like him on a federal level, across the nation. Will they like him? He's an articulate speaker. A lot of the ladies like him. That's a segment where Trump needs some. He actually lost a lot of support from 2016 to 2020. Was the liberal white women at home. Lizzie Reform says, I don't have any to brace anything. Jesus is king, and I'm chilling. Getting 420 likes. J.D. Sharp says it's time for Democrats to admit who is really running and ruining the country. Getting 647 likes, which, yeah, I don't think anyone really believes Biden is in charge and he's coming together with plans to fix the country on a day-to-day basis. Do you? Like, I have friends who, again, I ask my friends, like, how, what are you voting for? And a lot of them will be blunt, like, yeah, Biden's puppet, like, they're just voting, they vote for the party. Again, there are people who are on the right, and they'll say, oh yeah, I don't care who's on ballot, they'll just vote for Republican. So again, there's a lot of votes that are already baked in to the cake, so to say. It'll be interesting to see how many people in the middle, how many people are libertarian. How many people really go right or left this election. Be fascinating to see if there's a greater increase than usual or greater percentage than usual in terms of, people changing affiliations or parties. But let me know, do you know anyone who's having their mind swayed one way or the other, or a lot of people just going to vote exactly the same as we have seen this competition exactly before? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Alex Jones' InfoWars showing the video of Biden being escorted off the stage while Trump, he simply walks away. Now there's some, I don't say gaudy, god-awful music, so we won't play that part of the video, but pull up Alex Jones really quick, most censored man in my lifetime. And the great parameter for seeing if one of your friends or prospective friends does or does not believe in free speech, simply ask him, do you think Alex Jones deserves an outlet? Now, Alex Jones on X Twitter says, quote, I'm not subscribed. Well, he didn't say that, but I wondered out loud. I always forget, if you follow someone on Twitter, it's different than the subscribing. So the button is not grayed out, so you think you need to click it, but I'm already following him. Now, Alex Jones says, quote, shocking end to the Trump-Biden debate. What most people didn't see. This says it all. And it's about a minute long. For the folks who are just tuning in audio-wise, I'll describe it out loud for you. Oh, terrible music. Let me mute that junk. Needless to say, it's not anything like Vivaldi, Bach, or Blink-182, or the Beatles, or Aerosmith. But nevertheless. So they both wrap up the debate. Trump simply walks, gives a little wave and walks off stage, which, again, it's kind of sad. The bar for politics is we're talking about someone having the ability to walk off stage, and one does not. Like, that's almost unfathomable to think about. And yet, that's reality in American politics these days. So Trump simply walks off stage, walks around the corner, not too dramatic. A little disappointed he didn't do a cartwheel or something, moderately entertaining, but kidding, of course. And yeah, Biden, as soon as Biden's done, is that his handler? Manipulator? Wife? I don't recognize her. It might be his wife for all I know. But yep. So she goes up to the stage, right to the podium, grabs Biden by the hand. Jeez Louise. And is guiding him down steps. Like, there's like 3 steps here. And, it's not like the steps back in my day in the Sears house where they're like 6 to 7 inches or so, it seemed. So at times you had to, really pump those legs if you want to get up to the 2nd floor. These are maybe a 3 or 4 inch step. There's like 3 of them. And he's being guided down these tiny steps. So he made 1, 2, 2 steps. And he made it, he didn't fall over. Which, again, it's hilarious that we have to point that out. Because, statistically speaking, he has a high propensity of falling over. There's whole YouTube compilations on that. So I guess there's a silver lining in that regard. But yeah, so they guide him over. He walks over. Of course, they thank the debaters for propping up his campaign. And and asking all the questions. And let's be honest, we all know who got the questions in advance. Oh, terrible. And yeah, this got pretty viral. It got 5.2 million views, 75,000 likes. One of the first top comments comes from Paul Zupa saying this really says it all, getting 64 likes. Planet of Memes gets an F- for marketing today. They're now 0 for 3 in terms of, again, their name is Planet of Memes, and yet they did not respond in meme form. I'll have to say, this alleged Planet of Memes says, quote, he is so weak and feeble, getting 98 likes. We have a contrarian statement, though, right off the bat. Yeah, Beach Roy, who, I don't want to say false advertising, but it's a picture of a cat, not a beach. So it has a sun, a beach, blue wave emoji. I don't know what kind of hippie thing that is. It's not the peace sign, it's the pinky finger and the thumb sign. It has that as the emoji, a surfer, then a pride flag. Looks like with an extra, I don't know what duration it is. There's so many variations. Speaking, this person says, tweet up some proud fellow of the Ukrainian flag, and everything else is in a different language. And he says Trump was all alone and Biden was in the arms of his loving wife. Oh, got 372 likes, though. I don't know if it's more loving than it is manipulating and evil and coercion for his handler. Because again, a loving wife, I would argue, would probably tell you, hey Joe, let's go retire and hang out in the in Delaware, or let's relax. Not, oh yeah, you look like you're falling apart. Let's keep pushing you into politics. Yeah. But again, 372 people did like that tweet. Let's see. Jose Curso says, that was shocking, sad, disturbing, and pathetic, while also being extremely satisfying to watch. Getting 617 likes is quite a lot. We have Waco Clips saying, that's how we like to roll, and it's a picture of Trump holding a rifle on a tank with an eagle and a bunch of fireworks, and it says, make America great. I got 379 likes. Howler Dew says, can you imagine Joe trying to carry his own golf bag for 18 holes? Getting 867 likes. Which again, it sounds like reality TV. Maybe we should have that be a thing in the United States. The presidential golf off, or like a competition between the debates. So they have to beat each other in a game of golf. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. Dead Cell says, the music, good to see him shaking hands with people while having a cold too, getting 292 likes. Yes, a lot of people on the social media were saying, oh yeah, but Biden, he had a rough debate because he had a cold, you see. Going down more and more. Jeez Louise. The internet, this reminds me when the internet was just fun, stupid things. Rajesh Shahala says, now who did this? In a picture of Trump riding a bald eagle. And the bald eagle, oh, terrible music. The bald eagle is going to the lake, and it picks out, obviously it's photoshopped, and picks out Joe Biden on the lake. Got 205 likes. Going down more and more. Doge Gold says 100% hidden in plain sight. The FBI knows it. The people know it. It's Trump debating at the podium, and Biden is fallen over. Again, it's not Photoshop. It's from a different instance that happened. You have a bunch of people trying to pick Biden up, getting 501 likes. Let's see. Expose Them said, talking about NATO and World War III almost made the demon come right out of him. And it's about 12 seconds long, so we'll play that. Oh, his eyes are wide.
Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all, and required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader.
That got 786 likes. Papa EO says shirt link is a African-American man wearing a shirt saying Trump, better coverage than Verizon, can you hear us now? And it's pretty much the whole US red. And then of course the cities are dotted in blue. They got 163 likes. So yeah, definitely not a good way to end the debate. Well, there's already a rough debate, but definitely not a good way to end it. It definitely just highlights again his lack of strength. I guess maybe it'll appeal to one or two people who think, oh, he's got his loving wife right next to him. But I don't know how many people really have a positive image or thought of, Miss Biden. But let me know in the comments, do you think this will actually help Biden? I think if anything, this is just going to add insult to injury and show how he's clearly not able to do much on his own. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Volkswagen recalling a little more than 271,000 vehicles, which is not great, especially because, again, the CEO, for some reason, publicly said a couple weeks ago, we no longer think our brand is viable. Because, again, so their sales are decreasing, more people are buying the competition, which, again, saying the quiet part out loud was, to me, one of the most weirdest things I've ever seen in business, especially in that regard. It's one way to say we have a strategic vision to overtake the market. We're going to increase our sales by XYZ. But yeah, just coming out and saying, oh yeah, we don't think our brand is viable right now. We need to make extra changes. That's, as the ESPN buffoons might say, that's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that works. Or was that Madden? One of the sports balls things. Now, this was brought to us thanks to CNN Business, which is somehow actually still in business. I can't help but think they're secretly praying, like, please, Trump win. Because again, when Trump lost the last election, their ratings went down like by 40%. It was rough times for CNN. Now, this is specifically by Samantha DeLeao, who's a writer over there. And yep, it's due to the airbag recall. So she says specifically, quote, Volkswagen recalls more than 271,000 vehicles due to defective airbags. Now, specifically, they are recalling 271,330 of its Atlas SUVs due to the faulty passenger side airbags. Certain Atlas vehicles made between 2021 and 2024 and Atlas Cross Sport vehicles made between 2020 and 2024 may experience a wiring error causing the front passenger airbags not to deploy, according to a report last week by the National U.S. Highway Safety and Traffic Administration. That's not great, especially because it's not related to the Takata airbags, which, again, for that, I want to say most automotive companies got a pass in terms of public perception. That was the biggest recall in automotive history was the Takata airbags. And spoiler alert, a lot of these companies share the same core parts. I mean, just like a Bosch, and they make a lot of electrical components from many of these companies. And the Takata airbag things, well, long story short, the solvent that they used to actually, cartridges to explode them, well, they had some defects and glorified, basically turned them into grenades. So quite the antithesis of saving your life would actually make your life worse or could potentially take it from you. So every company had a recall for that, from GM to Volkswagen to even, I believe even Tesla at the time had the same airbags. They all got recalled because of the airbag. Now this is even worse because, again, this isn't because of the bad manufacturer, or more accurately, the subcontractor that they choose for a specific component. This looks like it is a wiring error, which, again, I'm not sure if that's because of the person who was assembling the vehicle. Was it the engineering team putting together the wire diagram, how it's going to be assembled, then just was it optimized? And again, there's a being a bad recall. This is one where, yep, and again, it does not say that you should stop driving. Now, they say that the owners of the affected vehicles will be notified in mail by August 16th. Once the parts are ready, and Volkswagen dealers will replace the faulty parts, of course, free of charge, according to the company. Because again, it's not good for the dealerships, because again, warranty work gets paid much, much less, and same with recall work. The rate at which, because again, someone's going to pay for this, the manufacturer is paying the dealerships for the labor to fix this. And that rate is significantly less than if they were to repair something like, let's say you bought a Honda, let's say, for example, you bought a Honda Civic Si with a stick shift, as all cars should be by default, and, well, 5 to 6 years later, well, the wiring harness just breaks. Well, that's something, well, spoiler alert, as me, that was out of warranty. So I paid full price for that service, and as well as the physical product. That's good for the dealerships. That's where they make a lot of their revenue, a lot of their profit. This type of work, not so much. Manufacturers are going to cut them a check for discounted labor rate. So definitely not good for them either. And again, this is one of the instances where, well, yet another reason to tune into the show. Most people find out in August. Seems like most business blunders are automotive related because they have so many components that could go wrong. But yeah, the fact that a lot of these people aren't going to feel comfortable driving their vehicles, especially if they utilize the passenger side, for someone to actually they're actually in it. It's not just, throwing your computer there, but you actually have a person there. That's not great news. A lot of these people, maybe they'll no longer feel comfortable driving their cars for the interim and just chisel away at the brand recognition, the brand quality. It's definitely not going to be good for the reputation, especially because, again, this isn't an issue where it's like a Takata airbag recall. So, unfortunately, again, over 250,000 vehicles as well. It's a big number, get everyone's attention. And SUVs and trucks are the most profitable thing automotive companies make. There's a reason very few subcompact cars are manufactured anymore. This is a very important vehicle for Volkswagen. So that's yet another almost triple or quadruple whammy in terms of negative things for the company and the shareholders. So now having to recall 271,330 of those vehicles. So needless to say, that recall of the Volkswagen Atlas, Volkswagen, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment or a thumbs up, thumbs down is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.